Hello and welcome to Lions Den, Emerson's one and only sports show. I'm Malcolm Kellner.
I'm Harris Rubenstein.
I'm Annie Carroll.
And of course, I'm Jack Ross. Now, guys, this is the last episode of Lions Den for the season.
So sad.
But we've got a lot coming your way today.
We do, Jack, and we have our usual national sports story with our correspondent John Newton today. He'll be discussing NFL player injuries and what they will mean for each team the rest of the season.
We will then have an interview with Emerson's own women's basketball players, Maria Santora and Emily Cameron.
And then we will catch up with Song Park, who spoke to Stanford Nancy, Senior Associate Director of Athletics.
We'll have all that and more coming up next on this episode of Lions Den.
Let's start off by taking a look at this past fall's most exciting moments, guys.
All right, thanks, Annie.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with the women's volleyball team versus Simmons, where Jules Augustine pounds home the kill there. Then it's Farrah Cohen returning the serve, gets the set from Elaine Nichols, and got the kill. Lions go on to win 3-0. Now we transition to men's soccer. Duncan Bokikio crosses up the goalie and puts it in there. Then remember that name later in the game. Matt Zani gets the nice feed into Bokikio into the box and bang, puts in the goal. Lions go on to win 2-1 with 2 goals from Dunkin' Donuts himself.
Great nickname.
I love that one. We'll get to Dunkin' Donuts actually in my highlights too, but let's go number 1 right now. Jeremy Letter makes a couple nice moves on the edge of the box. This is what we saw earlier in the year. This will be his second goal of the game. Watch this cross into the box, right onto the forehead of senior Dan Knight, his second of the game. They would win this one 2-1 off this great goal right there. But we mentioned Duncan Bokikio. Watch this here. This guy has magnets in his feet. I've never seen anything like this. They throw the ball into him, and somehow just a couple of kicks here and there, a little crisscross applesauce. It's looking like a nice hamburger at Gridler's. And look, Duncan Bokikio just ends up with the ball back in the net. Unbelievable. Never seen anything like it. But let's kick it over to something else I've never seen anything before. That's Farrah Cohen playing some volleyball. Watch this kill here. Another slam, and then check it again. Another one to give the Lady Lions the huge 3-0 win. Great player they have there in Farrah Cohen.
Well, I'm starting off with women's soccer versus MIT, and it's an exciting highlight, let me tell you that. We got an MIT forward striking down the field when junior goalie Melanie Escobar comes out and just, with fearless save right there. Look at that. Diving save, willing to sacrifice. Next, men's soccer up against Wheaton when goalie Carter Bowers jumps up in traffic and gets the call and the save. These last two are both from the Charles Rivers Cup. Emerson women's team taking on Leslie. Off the rebound, Taylor Agini with a diving goal that puts the Lions up 1-0. Good celebration there. And then later in the game, Alyssa Giannone right out on the wing, going to get a little passing action, and she just beautifully places it in top corner. No chance for the goalie. And the Emerson team would go on to win 2-0 and win the Charles River Cup.
That 9-iron with that chip shot.
Seriously.
Well, guys, those were pretty good, but I think I've got a few big plays of my own. So let's start off here. The Emerson Lady Lions against Mount Holyoke, and it's Captain Natalie Benjamin inside. Looks like it's going to Alyssa Giannone, but it's actually Paige Haley who takes a little chip shot that unfortunately lands in the hands of Zoe Marshall. Great goalie there. Now we go to another game here, and here we see a Smith soccer player, and Jess Frost just jacks her up there on the sideline. What a hit. One of my favorite of the season. And speaking of big hits, here comes another one. Emerson men's here versus Revere in the rain. The Lions are going to go to try to corral it, but bang! An Emerson Lion goes down off of a big hit by a Revere player. Emerson would get the ball, but they would lose the game.
All right, thanks, you guys. Now, with the winter season underway, there's so much to look forward to in Emerson sports with men's and women's basketball teams both beginning their seasons. Very high expectations for both teams. What are we looking forward to this year?
Well, guys, I'm definitely excited for both of these teams. As we know, they're both starting out 1-1 with the Emerson women's on a 1-game win streak, while the Emerson men's lost their last game. But I'm going to take a second to talk about the guys here. Michael Thorpe is a player that really excites me this season. We know he's nursing an injury right now. He's going to miss the team's next game against Bryant, but he has been fantastic in the team's first 2 games so far, averaging over 20 points and getting a couple assists and rebounds in there. Him and Austin Pinkney combined, Austin averaging close to 10 rebounds, almost a double-double every game. These two guys have what it takes, I think, to carry this team deep into the playoffs.
And I think Jack's right. I mean, he can miss that game against Bryant. You know, they're going against D1. That's out of the conference, out of division. Not really a big-time game for them. But, you know, going against Babson, they need him back for those conference games. So if he's healthy, they could rest him a little bit. A little R&R, I think, will be just right for Michael Thorpe.
But here's the thing about that men's team. They are very deep. So even if he does miss a couple games, they've got a solid bench that they've got plenty of guys they can pick from that can come in. I won't say fill the production.
Mike C off the bench. He's draining those threes. He had 10 points in the team's last game.
Exactly.
And I mean, those two big freshmen that they got in there at the center position. I mean, even our own John Newton wouldn't be able to fit onto that team with just the amount of size they have. But let me tell you, this men's basketball team is a lot of talent. We talked before about how they might be able to, make a playoff run this year, maybe even make it to the finals.
Oh, absolutely playoffs. I think playoffs are all but a guarantee.
I think it's a very promising year. And even for the women, I think this women's team is also going to be very talented. Marie Santora is kind of junior year for her, and they brought in two more freshmen. One of them is down low, very good scorer. The other one's a guard, good depth off the bench. So I really think that this men's and women's team are going to see a lot of success this year.
Yeah, the freshman, Charlie Boyle, you mentioned, she scored over 20, I think it was 21, 22 points.
Yeah.
The 21 points the last game. I mean, as a freshman, she is coming in. I announced the game on Saturday. Their first game, she looked like she's been there for years.
She looks fantastic.
She's a
doing that low post, obviously. She's going to have a very tough position to fill in the graduation of some seniors, but she definitely looks good and will be a key part of this Lady Lions team going forward.
Overall, I just think that both teams are going to have a really exciting year in the new MAC. I think we're finally adjusting to playing these certain teams, and we've really figured out a strategy that'll work.
All right. Yeah, well, very exciting for both teams. I think
we might finally become a powerhouse in the new MAC conference. I'm excited for that for sure.
We'll see. All right, well, now let's check in with John Newton, as promised, to talk about this season's NFL injuries. What do you got, John?
Over the past few weeks, there's been a rash of injuries to NFL players, with some being serious and even season-ending, perhaps even career-ending. Let's take a look at these injuries and the significance it has on each of their teams. Players who've had their season ended over the past few weeks include Le'Veon Bell, Steve Smith Sr., Ricardo Lockett, and Malcolm Floyd. Each of these injuries are significant in their own ways. Le'Veon Bell is a starting running back for the Steelers, and while D'Angelo Williams has performed well in his absence, Bell is one of the best running backs in the business. His presence will be missed as Pittsburgh attempts to get into the playoffs. Steve Smith Sr. is the #1 target for Joe Flacco, and because of his season-ending injury, it might be the last we hear of the Hall of Famer. As he said before, this season would be his last. There's a possibility he reverses his decision. Ricardo Lockett left the Seahawks game last week with a serious neck injury and was hospitalized. He underwent surgery and is no longer in critical condition, but the injury has terminated his season. Seahawks need all hands on deck, have been struggling. We need to put a little bit more pressure on the teams above them to make the playoffs. Malcolm Floyd is one of the premier deep ball receivers in the league and was a trusted target for Phillip Rivers. The two have been on the Chargers for the same amount of time, but that partnership seems to be terminated and Floyd's career seems to be done. Seems like everyone is getting injured, as stars have seen less threatening injuries, including Ben Roethlisberger, Latavius Murray, Teddy Clowney, and Eddie Lacy. All of them left games this last week and could miss some serious time in upcoming games. Some concussions, some injuries, big and small, ranging from head to toe, including Roethlisberger's foot injury. Playing professional football has its risk, but it will be important to see if this string of injuries persists in the coming weeks. What will the NFL attempt to do with them? The most important question is, what will teams do to replace those players?
We'll definitely keep a lookout for that and this ongoing issue of injuries as the NFL season continues.
But after the break, we're going to have an in-studio interview with women's basketball players Maria Santora and Emily Cameron. So don't go anywhere and stick with us.
Welcome back, everybody. Now we are joined by Maria Santora and Emily Cameron, two of the talented players on the women's basketball team. How's it going, you two?
Pretty good.
Very good. All right, well, let's cut right to the chase here. So you just had the tip-off tournament over the weekend. You lost a tough first game against Framingham State. Didn't play great basketball. I was there announcing the game for ECS. But you bounced back nicely yesterday in the game against UMaine Farmington. So what did you do in the second game to turn things around after that rough start?
Well, I think in the first game, our coach was saying that our team always has a lot of energy, but when it's that amped up kind of nervous energy, that's when our team kind of doesn't do as well. And I think because it was our first game, it's a completely new offense. We've never actually ran it, in a game that matters. So I think that's kind of where that amped up nervous energy came from. Not our best show of basketball ever, but I think we definitely bounced back in the second game. We got those pre-game jitters out of the way, and we were able to actually run the offense and, play together, which was nice.
Now, I know you guys got two new freshmen, Natalie Bush and Charlie Boyle. How do you think they're adapting to the team? I know Charlie had a really good game, so how do you think they're adjusting to learning the new offense?
I think they're adapting pretty well. Charlie is definitely a powerhouse down on the post. As you can tell, she got 21 points in her most recent game. So she's been doing really well in this new offense. Same with Natalie. She's a great point guard, has great handles. So I think they're both going to be great attributes for our team this year.
Now you got those two talented players, but your new season did come without some losses as well. You lost 4 seniors, most in particular, Kristen Bryce, member of the 1,000 Points Club, was a huge presence offensively and defensively down low. How do you replace her production on both sides of the ball?
I don't think you could ever replace people like Kristen and Kat and Macy and Marissa. But like Emily said, Charlie and Natalie are going to be good players for us. Charlie's a powerhouse on the block. I think she'll kind of step into Kristen's shoes pretty nicely when she, is out on the floor more and is playing more college basketball. I think she'll fill in Kristen's shoes really nicely. And same with Natalie, but I don't think you could ever necessarily replace the people you lost. There were 4 great players and 4 great friends and teammates, and regardless of who you bring in, you just don't ever replace them.
Now, what would you say is your overall goals for the season? I know everyone usually has like an individual goal that they want to reach, but what would you say the whole team goal is for the year?
Win NEWMAC conference, definitely. We want to win a lot of games. We want to go far, and I think we can.
Yeah, I think our goal last year was, let's make the playoffs. And I think now our team is a lot better than we were last year. And I think if we could all play to the best of our ability, making the playoffs is going to be a pretty good goal for us, but winning it is something that I think is just as attainable.
What do you think specifically is going to allow you to make a deep playoff run this year and maybe even win that NEWMAC title?
I think just our positivity and our whole team attitude. We're all really getting along and we're gelling really well on the court, and we also have an incredible coach who's going to take us all the way there.
Yeah, I just think also our players are really, really versatile. I think every player has 1 or 2 things that they're really good at, and I think a combination of all those things, we could go pretty far.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for being here. It was an honor, and I hope you guys have a great season ahead. And as we mentioned before, our sports package correspondent, Song Park, spoke with Stan Nance, Senior Associate Director of Athletics. Let's see how that went.
Hello, I'm Song Park, and alongside me today is Stan Nance. And Stan, if you could tell us a little about yourself and your role here at Emerson.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm the Senior Associate Athletic Director here at Emerson, and I've been here for 12 years. Some of my role is to oversee some of the varsity sports. Then I also oversee the fitness center. I'm also the liaison with the Department of Athletics and undergraduate admissions for recruiting.
How has the culture of Emerson Athletics changed since you've been here?
Oh, it's changed tremendously. We were part of the GNAC, which is the Great Northeast Athletic Conference. Now we are part of the NEWMAC, which is the New England Women's and Men's Athletic Conference. We thought that the schools in the NEWMAC conference were more aligned to our structure in terms of where we are academically. So it's a great fit. Our teams have done great academically. Softball has been the #1 school in the country, over 300 Division III institutions, and they've been #1 for 5 years in a row. And just this past year, women's lacrosse was the #1 team in the country for Division III. I would say that since we've been in the conference, men's and women's basketball have made the playoffs, which is a good sign of teams moving forward. And just recently, our women's soccer team made the ECA tournament.
And going off of that, how has that affected the athletic department in itself?
Just to give you an idea, 2004 there were 2 full-time coaches. Now we have 10 full-time coaches. That's a big leap for us, and it's a good thing because the new MAC is a very competitive league, and we think that we need to make a impact on recruiting because that's how your teams get better, when you bring in better talent.
As you move forward, what do you think the administration can do or the athletic department can do to continue the growth that we're experiencing now?
Well, I think we got to continue to try to provide for our student athletes, give them the best possible opportunities, not only just for our student athletes, but also for our coaches. So we're working on facilities. So that's one of the things that administration, that we'll be working on as administration, is finding them a home site where our student athletes and coaches can say, this is home. Just like when they come here and they watching a basketball game, they know this is the home facility. Or if you walk down the Rocks Field, they know it's their home facility. So that's the thing we got to look forward to and have to solve.
All right, Stan, thank you very much for your time.
You're good. Thank you very much for having me.
Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, good stuff as always from Song Park and Stan this week. Thanks, Song. Now let's take a short break, but when we come back, we will have an in-studio interview with their coach, women's basketball coach Bill Gould. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We are sitting here with Bill Gould, head coach of the Emerson women's basketball team. How's the season going so far, Coach? How you doing?
We're doing very well, thank you, and I think the season's going very well. We're looking forward to a very, very good year. Started out a little bit of a split, but things are going pretty well.
Yeah, we heard you guys split that, as you said, split the tip-off tournament just this past week, and you guys are now on a one-game win streak after we lost that tough first game. So how are you going to go continuing forward? You know, what strategies are you going to put in place to keep this win streak going?
Well, I think the first thing I'm going to do is utilize Emily Cameron and Maria Santora to the best of their abilities to make sure that they each can hopefully average somewhere between 20 and 25 points a game.
They're two talented basketball players
very
right there,
talented,
for sure.
Very talented.
Absolutely. So what kind of strategies have you guys used so far this year and into the future that can really get the most out of your basketball team?
I think this year, more than in years past, we're much more versatile, and we have a lot of kids that can do a lot of different things, and we actually changed our whole offensive system this year, which I think maybe contributed to our first game being a little bit out of sorts. But overall, we really have a lot of players that can do so many different things, and I think that's going to be a big help going forward.
Yeah, don't give too much away. We might have some other teams listening to this show, so we can't have you giving away your offensive secrets. But let's talk about you for a sec. Tell us about your background in basketball and how you came to become the head coach of the Emerson women's basketball team.
I was actually a very hideous basketball player.
I can relate to that for
Wasn't
sure.
very good. But I actually, when I was in third grade, help defense made sense to me. A lot of kids still don't get it, but I kind of got it. And I think I always just enjoyed the thinking part of the game more than anything. And I started coaching, and I was in high school for a little while. Then I went to a Division II school, 8 years at Boston College. Then this job opened up as a head job, and I looked at it, and I said, this is what I want.
Definitely an interesting ride.
Very nice. So what do you think are some main ideals that really make a good basketball player? What do you think they need?
So when I recruit, I look for kids that are tough, that are smart about the game, and then finally have some skill that will translate to the college game. Like, they have to have those three things. They need to be tough, they need to be smart, and I don't care what the skill is, even if it's a locker room presence, even if it's, you know, a teammate presence, but something that will help contribute to our team at the collegiate level, and they need to have that.
Now, you talk about that locker room and a good teammate presence. Now, how do you look to your team leaders to really impact the locker room, and what does that do for a team, you know, here?
Well, there's an expression in sports about people that are locker room lawyers, and it's a disaster for a team. Is that you have to be, even if you are upset about something, you have to be someone that can just deal with that on your own and make sure everything about the team is positive. And captains are the keys to that. They have to be that way, and really kind of keep everybody else in check and kind of keep everybody going in the same direction.
So who are some new people you guys are, or new students you guys are bringing in this year that'll really boost the team? Because we lost a couple seniors,
Sure.
So who's coming in this year?
Yeah, and we lost some really, really good seniors, both on and off the court, really just tremendous players. We only brought in 2 kids this year that were new, but I think they're going to have big, big impacts. Natalie Bush is a guard from England, actually, and then Charlie Boyle is a post player from California. So they're very good players and going to have, you know, impacts very, very
I've heard
soon.
good things about Charlie.
They're
Dynamic scorer right there.
She's doing all right. She's a strong kid, but they're both going to be really, really impactful, I think.
All right, a final question. So,
Sure.
you know, what ways do you think this team can improve going forward? I know we've only played a very small sample
Sure.
size, but I'm sure you've found some things that you'd like to change going forward. And what are those?
Defense.
Defense.
And one of the things that I think our team has always been known for is our team defense, and I think we struggle with that a little bit. And that's something that when you lose 2 kids that have played so much like we did last year, you know, it takes a little bit to figure out who's going to do what role, and I think that's the next thing. And if we can improve on that and then improve a little bit on our consistency, I think we're going to be really good.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, we're definitely excited for this upcoming
Absolutely.
season, and we wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you for being on the show. And now we're going to go to Ellie on the Street, asking strangers about their Black Friday plans and tactics. Let's hear what they have to say.
As the leaves start changing and the weather gets chillier, we are rapidly approaching the biggest sporting event of the Thanksgiving season, Black Friday. And we're here in Faneuil Hall talking to shoppers to hear what their game plan is for the day and see who's going to come out on top on this post-Turkey Day showdown. So what is your game plan for Black Friday?
We are going to go to the library.
To not go to a store because it'll be full of people.
I want to buy a lot of things.
Well, maybe get a head start on a few Christmas presents.
I'm going to be staying at home, probably hungover for Thanksgiving. Sorry.
Hopefully not shopping.
Not go out.
Maybe if some appliances blow out before then, I'll get one of those.
Absolutely nothing. Staying away from any store possible.
I've been kind of thinking of hitting the stores earlier, getting a group of friends together and just kind of going out for it.
Who would you bring along?
It's like my family, my husband and my children.
I'm probably going to be working because I'll be home, so I work at a retail store.
Ooh, what's that going to be like then?
Oh, definitely terrible.
What's it like working at Macy's on Black Friday?
It's a lot of fun.
It's just like a mess, and like you're always constantly cleaning stuff. It's terrible.
I enjoy working that day.
It's a mess.
What's the worst thing you've ever done to another shopper on Black Friday?
I've never been that kind of a person.
Has the shopper ever been vicious to you?
No, but I have seen one of my professors came back and she taught with a little ring on her eye because she was punched over an Elmo.
Oh my God. Will you participate in Cyber Monday on your home field?
Probably.
Probably not. I'm not a big shopper.
It's like Black Friday, except on the internet the next day.
Oh, I see. No, actually, we're probably not going to buy anything.
I love Cyber Monday.
What would your tactics be for Cyber Monday?
Try to find all the discount codes.
Well, you look on the internet for the deals. If you need something, that's a good place to start.
As you can see, players are gearing up for what will definitely be a game day to remember.
Well, guys, this has been an exciting season for all Emerson sports.
That it has, Harris, with lots of ups and downs. It's been great to hear about it firsthand right here on Lions Den.
We want to thank our guests this season for coming out, and we can't wait to see what's in store for this winter.
So once again, don't forget to tune in and catch up on what you missed at emersonchannel.org. I'm Jack Ross.
I'm Malcolm Kellner.
I'm Harris Rubenstein.
And I'm Annie Carroll. Thank you for watching Lions Den, and have a great night.